Good morning. I just can't get over how adorable the new dogs are.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, thank you, Carl. So is Dexter Von Frisch. Doesn't Clyde look a lot like Owen Wilson? I'm just saying. That tousled blonde hair.
That was my Owen Wilson impression.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Also blonde hair, blank behind the eyes.
Okay. But very good in Wedding Crashers.
Sure.
But more of a Luke Wilson nose.
Right.
By the way, speaking of breaking news, Mark Elias, election attorney, says Arizona Supreme Court denies Kari Lake's petition to transfer her election contest appeal from the appeals court to the state's highest court. This is the second time Lake has made this motion and had it denied. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Carl! They are just going to be the whiny sore loser party
against her.
Yeah.
It's almost as if the conspiracy against her goes much further, much deeper,
right?
To a darker place than we could possibly imagine.
I mean, this party has just become a joke. Yeah.
What will the voters stoop to next?
Right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I don't even know what to say about that. And meanwhile, what can you even say about a party that puts George Santos on committees and takes Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell off and puts Marjorie Taylor Greene in charge of anything?
Well, what did we think was going to happen when they made Marjorie Taylor Greene speaker?
Yeah.
Kevin McCarthy's not speaker.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaker. So this is what happens when lunacy runs the show. It's almost as if they looked for the biggest weaknesses of their members and then decided what committee should we put them on where that biggest weakness would be a terrible detriment to the work of the Congress.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Just today's two George Santos stories, Carl. George Santos suffered a fresh embarrassment yesterday when the man who Santos listed as his new campaign treasurer denied being Santos' new campaign treasurer. So but every
campaign has a fiduciary.
An attorney representing the treasurer said he is not working for Santos and the filings were signed under his name without his consent, and further said it is completely illegal to sign someone else's name to a federal filing without their consent.
Isn't there a word for signing someone else's name?
Forgery.
Isn't it called forgery?
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. How about this one? This is also Santos story number 2. Santos files paperwork showing his company he claimed managed $80 million in assets has an address in a Dollar Tree strip mall. Okay, so that
checks out.
Yeah.
I mean, that company, by the way, is one of the reasons he's facing a second FEC complaint because he located that company in a little city in Florida, and then his campaign committee paid for luxury hotels within, I think, a couple days of starting that company, less than 2 miles away from the company. So campaigns can't do that.
Right.
The address happens to be a Fast Mail and More mail center.
Okay.
Where you can rent
Where he's the manager, you're not mentioning all the facts.
Sorry. It's a strip mall that includes a Dollar Tree, a Staples, a Chinese restaurant, a nail salon, and a check cashing service.
We've all seen that strip mall before. Yeah, we've all seen that strip mall.
Yes. But I mean, he somehow, as we know, Carl went from making $55,000, claiming zero assets, having trouble paying rent, allegedly swiping luxury clothing from various roommates, to being able to loan his own campaign $700,000. So, have I been saying lately that it's all one story, and this leads back to Russia because it's a Russian oligarch, right? Mm-hmm. Already that we found is funded.
You're just jealous that you don't have your own oligarch.
I think I am. I think you're correct. Where does one get one? At that same strip mall?
Yeah.
Well, yes, they actually work at the Staples.
That's what half the actresses in Hollywood were dating Greek shipping heirs. I'm like, how does one even meet one of those? How would I?
Well, if you're not aware, maybe you should spend more time with the DeVolder, Santos, Zabrowski, contingent of New York. They're very high class.
Can you give me 23? I just, since we're there, Carl, this is because all worlds are going to collide at some point. This is him talking about Jeffrey Epstein, who I guess he met when he was working in private equity
circles.
Why
managing the dollar store.
Why would one brag about this?
By the way, in the 2 seconds I was on the dating app before I met,
Fanny.
my girlfriend. Yeah. There was somebody was a produce manager at the dollar store, and I didn't even know they had produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The one on La Brea has a huge produce section.
Huh? That was impressive to me. Yeah. Okay, here he is, Carl. George Santos.
As far as Epstein, I met Epstein in a couple of private equity conferences. Like I said, I've never dealt with him personally, but I've met him. I've seen him. I'm 6'2", and the guy was taller than me. There's just no way you can hang yourself off of a bunk bed at that height. I can't hang myself off of a bunk bed because human instinct kicks right in, and first thing you do is you stand up. You just don't need to suffocation and to strangling yourself. So that's just not possible. The human brain is wired a very specific way, and it's for survival. And the whole story is just so skewed. He didn't hang himself. He was murdered.
Okay.
Wow.
Chris, you're the Disney aficionado.
Yes.
Is there, the thing that says you must be this tall to go on this ride?
Yeah.
Is that for... Because I hadn't heard that. No one tall has ever killed himself?
Right.
Okay. So there's you must be
Well, it
this tall.
sounds like George Santos has tried, apparently.
Well,
Carl
Louise.
Wow, Carl went dark.
Tell me that's not
really
what he was saying.
Carl, when he said he wished he was hung, that's not what he meant.
That's not what he meant.
Oh, gosh.
It doesn't mean what you think it means.
Look, what's interesting to me there is that you probably have, again, I mean, this is no different than the other clip of him on a podcast or radio show where he was saying that he had invented carbon capture technology.
Yes, I saw that clip.
And that he was very into oil and gas right now.
Yeah.
So here again, you have him inflating his sense of self for the person interviewing him to make it sound like he has anything worthwhile to say.
Yeah. Well, sounds like you doubt his entire resume, particularly when he founded Exxon. But okay.
Well, I do not doubt that he is the manager of the Check and Go.
Okay, wait. He had more.
What?
More.
There's
Hold,
more?
please. Yes.
As far as interacting with him, like I said, private equity conferences, you don't really get to know a good feel for the guy. But from what my coffee, high and by, 2-minute conversation, standing by a pastry table, grabbing some coffee, was a very pleasant individual. I'm not saying he's a pleasant person, and especially after everything that's come out in the media, but a very pleasant guy, very cordial gentleman, and kind.
For a child rapist, you mean?
Yeah.
Or just in general? I take him for a chocolate eclair man.
The only part of that story,
Carl,
I believe, was the part about being around a pastry table.
Yeah, chocolate eclair. That's what I sense about him. Maybe a Napoleon.
I would say you can't make this stuff up, but he makes some. We find out something else that he's made up every single day.
Yeah. Hold, please. This might be relevant.
Let's be clear here.
Yeah.
He lied to imply he knew him in order to defend him.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not really sure.
Or to defend his character.
Right.
This might be relevant. This last part might be relevant for him soon.
I get a lot of pleasure in seeing people pay for their crimes in jail, not putting them on a chair or giving them a shot, because that's the easy way out. The hard way is live old and strip from all your privileges and luxuries in a jail cell. That's real torture. That's the purgatory. That's where people really suffer.
Oh,
put a pin in that. Hold that thought. You might need that soon.
One can only hope.
In what world? Like, Kevin McCarthy, he's still going to... one way or another, he's leaving Congress, right? But it's just...
Eventually, he will.
Yes.
McCarthy claims that he will let the ethics process work its way on him. But the internal ethics process run by members of Congress is largely broken.
Yeah.
That's why we had an Office of Congressional Ethics. And what's the first thing Kevin McCarthy and Speaker Marjorie Taylor Greene did when they took power?
Yeah.
They gutted the Office of Congressional Ethics, which was run by independent experts.
Yeah. Well, Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan already made our head hurt talking about the Russian, agent in the FBI in New York on Hannity in a way that... Carl, how is this not... Does this just not blow up the whole Trump-Russia? I mean, it absolutely proves everything that was in the Mueller report, the Senate Intelligence report, everything that all of us have been saying, Rachel Maddow, Malcolm Nance.
But if you watch Fox News, then you don't even know that this guy is the one who cleared Trump.
Right.
So, I mean, that's how you have these two different entirely sets of worldviews, is one set of evidence is not being given to the other side.
Right. So what do you think indictments are coming soon in, let's say, Georgia? Let's just start with Georgia.
Well, I mean, if you follow Trump on Truth Social, and
seems like it.
I get to see his posts on Twitter when they're reshared. he tends to go off the handle when he thinks something bad's about to happen to him. And most recently, he's been posting screeds about Georgia and the process in Georgia.
Yeah.
So,
well, yesterday,
I mean, if Trump is his own groundhog, then you know, perhaps he is.
Yesterday, I was reading those statements, Carl. Clyde was actually eating his own poo, and it reminded me what was happening in the bassinet of the 45th president.
Well, and it's probably what was happening when they were written.
Exactly. And we end on a poo joke. I love you, Carl Frisch. Say hi to Dexter.
All right.
Say, Bonnie and Clyde, say hello.
Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. I hope you'll join me on my new audio podcast, Justice Matters. I'll be using my 30 years as a federal prosecutor and Army JAG to unpack, break down, and explain the legal issues of the day, particularly where the legal intersects with the political. Please look for Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner wherever you generally get your podcasts.